A Jewish scholar allegedly said, "We removed it to hide Jesus." What was removed? Isaiah 53, a chapter so precise in describing the suffering, death, and vindication of an innocent man that early Christians believed it was written about Jesus of Nazareth. According to the claim, it was removed from synagogue readings because it caused, quote, arguments and great confusion. Why? Because even rabbis admitted it sounded too much like Jesus. Today, we're diving into what many consider the most dangerous prophecy in the Hebrew Bible and why it's mysteriously absent in Jewish synagogue readings. Stick around till the end. I'll show you a side-by-side reading of Isaiah 53 and the New Testament that's almost impossible to ignore. The similarities will shake you. If you are new, please consider subscribing to Christian Chronicles. We reveal biblical truths like you have never seen. So who was this Jewish scholar who allegedly said, "We removed it to hide Jesus"? His name was Raphael Levi, a 17th century Jewish scribe and scholar. He wasn't just any academic, he served as an assistant to the famous German philosopher and mathematician Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. He was well versed in Hebrew texts, philosophy, and the sciences. The story goes that Raphael Levi once admitted Isaiah 53 was originally read in the synagogues, but over time it was removed from public readings because it caused arguments and great confusion. Too many people were connecting the chapter to Jesus, and it stirred unrest. Now here's the important distinction. There's no known primary source, no letter, no manuscript, no official record where Raphael Levi is directly quoted saying those words. The claim is paraphrased in literature, notably by David Barron in his 1922 book, The Servant of Jehovah. Barron, a converted Jew and respected missionary, included the statement to highlight what he believed was a historical pattern, the deliberate avoidance of messianic prophecy that fits Jesus too well. So while we can't dogmatically claim Levi said it word for word, the story illustrates a deeper and still relevant reality. Let's be fair, on one side you have Christian apologists saying, "Look, Isaiah 53 was too uncomfortable, so it was pushed aside. It was deliberately designed out." And on the other side, Jewish tradition claims the reading cycle simply follows established patterns and skips certain passages for various reasons, not to hide Jesus, but to maintain thematic flow or avoid theological tension during specific seasons. But step back and ask yourself, why does the controversy exist in the first place? Why would this one chapter, unlike most others, cause such division? Regardless of whether Raphael Levi truly said those words, the underlying issue is real. The discomfort with Isaiah 53 didn't die in the 1600s. It's still here today. Now let's stop and ask the obvious question. What does Isaiah 53 actually say that makes it so controversial? Why would anyone consider it too Christian? Let's read it. These words were written over 700 years before Jesus walked the earth by the prophet Isaiah. And yet, listen carefully. He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. Isaiah 53, verse 5. Sound familiar? The Gospel of Matthew quotes this very verse when speaking of Jesus. He took up our infirmities and bore our diseases. Matthew 8, verse 17. Now listen to this. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. Isaiah 53, verse 7. This exact imagery is quoted in the New Testament book of Acts, when Philip encounters the Ethiopian eunuch reading Isaiah 53 on the road. He was led like a sheep to the slaughter. In his humiliation, he was deprived of justice. Acts 8, verses 32 to 33. And it doesn't stop there. He was assigned a grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, though he had done no violence, nor was any deceit in his mouth. Isaiah 53, verse 9. Peter, in his first letter, echoes this perfectly. He committed no sin, and no deceit was found in his mouth. 1 Peter 2, verse 22. You don't need to force connections, they're already there. Is it an apologetic insight? No. The early Christians weren't stretching the text to fit Jesus, they were recognizing what was already there. The idea of a suffering, sacrificial Messiah didn't begin with the Gospels, it originated in the Hebrew Scriptures. In Isaiah 53, the picture is already complete. Innocence, substitution, suffering, death, and vindication. All were described centuries before Jesus and fulfilled in his life, death, and resurrection. Now here's where things get even more fascinating. After reading Isaiah 53, you might be wondering, how could anyone read that and not see Jesus? Well, here's the twist. Many ancient Jewish rabbis did see the Messiah in this chapter. Before Christianity became widespread, Jewish interpretation of Isaiah 53 often pointed to the Messiah, not to the nation of Israel. Take Rabbi Moshe Cohen ibn Crispin, a 14th century Jewish commentator. He wrote, I am pleased to interpret it in accordance with the teachings of our rabbis of the King Messiah, and will be careful to adhere to the literal interpretation. That's right, this respected rabbi believed Isaiah 53 was about the coming Messiah, and he wasn't alone. Targum Jonathan, an early Jewish Aramaic translation of Isaiah, also applied messianic meaning to the servant passages. But as Christianity grew and claimed Jesus as the fulfillment of Isaiah 53, the rabbinic interpretation began to shift. Over time, especially in the medieval and modern eras, many Jewish scholars began to argue that the suffering servant wasn't the Messiah at all, but rather the nation of Israel, suffering at the hands of other nations. Modern Jewish sources like Chabad.org now explain it this way. The chapter speaks of the people of Israel as a whole. So let's break that down. Early Jewish, the servant is the Messiah. Then modern rabbinic view, the servant is Israel. Now ask yourself, why the shift? Why reinterpret a messianic prophecy as national suffering, especially when the plain reading of the text speaks of an individual who is pierced, dies, and is then exalted? This isn't just a theological change, it's a reaction, one that arose after the rise of Christianity. And that leads us to an honest apologetic question. Why change the interpretation unless the Christian reading hits too close to home? There is even a more interesting question. If Isaiah 53 was once seen as messianic by rabbis and only reinterpreted later, what impact has that shift had today? It is simple. Most Jewish people have never even read Isaiah 53. Not because they're hiding it personally, but because the traditional synagogue readings skip over it. It's not part of the regular Haftarah cycle, so you could grow up attending synagogue your entire life and never hear Isaiah 53 publicly read. And when people finally do encounter it, the reactions are powerful. Just search online and you'll find Jewish YouTube creators doing reaction videos. They sit down, read Isaiah 53, sometimes for the first time, and they're stunned. Out of ignorance, some Jews even claim it is a chapter from the New Testament. You can't fake that. These aren't people being preached to, they're just reading what's already there, and what they're seeing sounds a whole lot like the Jesus they were taught to reject. In conclusion, this isn't just about one scholar's alleged confession. This is about a pattern, a prophetic chapter so accurate, so detailed, so unmistakably aligned with Jesus of Nazareth that the only way to avoid the connection is to look away. Was it removed to hide Jesus? That's the claim. But even if Raphael Levi never said those words on record, the silence around Isaiah 53 says it louder. So here's my challenge to you. Have you read Isaiah 53 for yourself? Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Open it, read it, let the words speak, and then ask yourself, who is this servant? Why is this chapter skipped in Jewish readings? Could this be pointing to Jesus, centuries before his birth? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think Isaiah 53 is talking about? Why do you believe it's still so controversial? And if you're interested in more Christian truth, hit that subscribe button. Please share this video so that more people will know about this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.